Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Horseshoe Show here on Surge Sports. I am your host, Jack Rizzo. Thank you, everyone, for joining me tonight. So great to be back with all of you. I did not have a show last week. Got tied up with a couple of things, but I am thrilled to be back this week. We have got a lot to talk about today. A lot of news about the Indianapolis Colts. Of course, what the show is all about. First off, the Colts are in the playoffs right now, baby. That's right. If the season were to end today, the Colts would be in the 7th seed in the playoffs, ahead of the Broncos, ahead of the Houston Texans, ahead of the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals. So many teams the Colts are ahead of. They are just playing outstanding football right now. And again, without their rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson. So a lot to talk about on the Horseshoe Show today. A couple things I missed last week, which I'm going to get to before recapping the Colts 27-20 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their third win in a row. But the first news that we have to talk about happened last week. Again, did not have a show last week, so did not get to talk about this in full yet. Darius/Shaquille Leonard, the heart and soul of our defense for the last 5 years, was released by the team last week after just not really cutting it on the field throughout the first half of the season. Just, I think, news that shocked everyone. We knew that he wasn't playing well, but it really did just shock us. The fact that we paid him 2 years ago, and he was one of our captains. He did so much for the Colts, and it felt like maybe it was going to come at some point. We just didn't think it'd be during the season. So certainly surprising about that. I loved Shaq, man. He was just an absolute beast. From 2018 to 2021, there were very few players on the defensive side of the football in the NFL who were better and more dominant than he was. I got a jersey of him. Then I got a signed jersey of him sent by Matthew Maxwell on Twitter. So thank you very much for that. Still very, very grateful for that. And now it's a prized possession that I have because he's no longer on the Colts, and it breaks my heart. But again, I understand this is right for the team. It clears up a lot of cap space, but man, what Darius, well, I mean, we don't really know what we're going to call him, but I knew him more so as Darius Leonard because that when he had that name, he was way more dominant on the field. But Leonard, man, from 2018 to 2021, he was a top 3 linebacker in the NFL who's right there with Fred Warner and all the other great linebackers there. One of the best off-ball linebackers in the league, if not the best. Just some crazy stat lines. He was a ball hawk. He could make plays all over the field. He could punch the ball out. That's what he was best known for. Made big plays when it counted. Took the Colts to the playoffs twice. Wasn't great in coverage, but didn't really even need to be. I mean, he was just that great of a player. Just some crazy stat lines. His rookie year probably turned out to be his best year overall. 163 tackles, setting the record for defensive rookie. 7 sacks, 8 passes defended, 4 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, and it took the Colts from 4-12 the year before, 1-5 start in 2018 to win 9 of their final 10 and take them to the playoffs. They defeated the Texans and then lost to the Chiefs in the wild card round, which of course ended up being Andrew Luck's final game, but don't want to get too far into that. I mean, that still breaks my heart to this day. But really did make a difference on the field, and off the field, he made just as much of a difference. He was just a guy who represented the city of Indianapolis so well, did so much for the city in terms of charity work and just helping out the kids and doing so much around the city. Every Colts fan absolutely loved this guy. He was, again, he absolutely, there was not many people who loved the game of football more than he did, and there were not many people who loved helping the community more than he did. He just did so much to help the Colts. It's unfortunate, though. Injuries really killed him. Following 2021, just never really was the same. Had an ankle issue in 2022 camp. We found out it was back. It was his back issue. Ended up missing the first 3 weeks of the season. Came back in week 4, suffered a concussion, missed the next 3 games after that, and then played only 2 more games before suffering another setback in his back, which ended his season. They had a couple of back surgeries. Did make it for week 1, but was kind of playing on a snap count and just wasn't really making the explosive plays. Through the first part of the season, he didn't have any sacks, any interceptions, any forced fumbles. Didn't really do much. He just kind of looked lost out there at times. His coverage just kept getting worse. He wasn't making as many plays with the ball. And again, he was getting outplayed by Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed. And in the end, the Colts just decided that the contract they gave him, again, before the 2021 season, he was given a 5-year contract worth almost $100 million. Now, the first year after the contract, before the contract even kicked in, he proved that he was worth it. And then once the contract kicked in, we got about a little less than a full season of total games over these last 2 years of him just not really producing. So it makes sense we release him. It just feels like, so unexpected for an icon of this franchise last 5 years just to be released like that. But again, it's understandable. It frees up so much room in cap space. Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed are going to get lots of more playing time, and Shaq has the chance to go sign with a contender. Well, I still think the Colts could be a contender, but he has a chance to go sign with a couple of teams. He's been visiting with the Cowboys and the Eagles. He's going to make a decision within the next couple of days. Best of luck to wherever Shaq goes. It'll be funny if he signs with Dallas. Back-to-back years of which a Colts legend will go to the Cowboys late in the season for a playoff push. It was T.Y. Hilton last year. It could be Shaquille Leonard this year, and so we'll see what ends up happening, but. Really gonna miss this guy, but again, I understood though that it was time to move on from him. Okay, so man, that it really did. It feels like he hasn't even kicked in yet. The fact that he's gone, but the Colts still played some football though on Sunday, Week 12 at home against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They came in having won just one game at home all season. Well, they got their second one of the season at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a 27-20 win. One of the best games the Colts played from start to finish of the season. A great game for them on both sides of the ball. So much done right. And outside of a couple of mistakes, they were pretty much flawless in this game. I mean, they pretty much held the lead this entire game. The only time they didn't was when Tampa Bay got a field goal on their opening drive. Baker Mayfield, man, I have a lot of respect for him. Played really well, especially through an injury. Mike Evans is a beast. They have some good players over there in Tampa, but really happy with the way we won. I just don't really know how much good of a coach Todd Bowles is. So thank God we beat him and didn't lose to him. So a 27-20 final. The offense had one of their best games of the season. They had been pretty sloppy the last the 2 weeks before the bye against Carolina and New England. They were pretty bad. But this week against a really good Tampa Bay front and a pretty good solid defense overall, they played really, really well against. They took advantage of the fact that Levante David did not play, and the Colts relied heavily on the ground game. Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss combined for nearly 150 yards on the ground. Taylor, 91 himself. He had both of the Colts rushing scores on the day, 15 carries, so he averaged over 6 yards a carry. And Zach Moss actually averaged almost 7 yards a carry. So overall, the Colts averaged 5.7 yards per carry on Sunday. So really awesome to see that. In fact, every single one of the Colts touchdowns was a rush one. Gardner Minshew also rushed in a touchdown. So they really relied on the rushing game on Sunday. Really happy to see that because Shane Steichen always said we're gonna throw to score points or we're gonna run to win, and he really took that mentality on Sunday. Now, speaking of Shane Steichen, we talk about DeMeco Ryans and Sean Payton and Mike Tomlin and Nick Sirianni and Kevin Stefanski, John Harbaugh, whoever in the coach of the year session. Put some respect on Shane Steichen's name. This guy has the Colts in playoff position without his quarterback, his starting quarterback, and without Jonathan Taylor for a good portion of the season. And he's going to be out the next couple weeks, which I'll get to in just a second. But he gets these guys to play their best every week. He's overcome adversity. He's won some really tough games. I mean, he beat the Ravens, who are the number one seed in the AFC right now. The Colts went to Baltimore and beat them. Those only one of two times the Ravens have lost at home all season. Their only other one was to the Cleveland Browns. So just absolutely crazy stuff there. And just really happy to see the way that this guy is playing. This guy gets Colts ready to play. Different feeling from Frank Reich. Holds players accountable. Shane Steichen's accountability is something I could probably spend a whole video talking about, but here's just a quick list. Bench Deion Jackson after a poor performance in released Deion Jackson after a poor performance in week 1. Bench Darrell Baker Jr. after a bad performance in week 2. By the way, speaking of Baker, though, he's gotten a lot better these last couple of weeks, so good to see from him. Quite a few others as well. And now just release Shaquille Leonard for, again, benched him first and decided to release him. Now, Shaq the contract wasn't worth it. He was also kind of complaining about his playing time, so it makes sense why he got released. But this man's Steichen, man. He does not mess around. He expects all of his players to go out there and give it their all, and he has high standards for them. And I love the accountability this guy has. This is not something that Frank Reich did. Frank Reich would just say, "Oh, we're getting closer. We just need to climb a little higher on top of the mountain." So, just really interesting story there. But really, speaking of Frank Reich, he got fired by the Panthers, which we talked about yesterday, and you guys know my opinions about Frank Reich. So, but really happy that with Shane Steichen, can't believe we got this guy as a coach. Looks like the Eagles are kind of missing him too. So really happy with Shane Steichen, and I honestly would not have wanted a different coach. Honestly, this guy is just phenomenal. Gardner Minshew made another start for the Colts. Played okay. Made just one mistake, really. He had completed 24 41 passes, 250 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. The interception he threw was pretty bad. Still pretty scary in the pocket, but the protection was a lot better, though. Made some really good throws. Michael Pittman, his best game of the season, arguably 10 catches, 107 yards. Pay that man. He is on pace for over 100 catches and 1,000 yards on the season. So pay that man. Josh Johnson, 5 catches for 43 yards. Alec Pierce had his best game. Only 27 yards on 4 catches, but he also made some other plays. He broke up an interception on Antoine Winfield Jr. in the first half, and he's also great drawing penalties. He's a really underrated run blocker, and he does all the little things right that really aren't appreciated by the fans who just see the fact that his catch numbers are not really that high, and he's still trying to get a touch, still looking for his first touchdown of the season through week 12. But I like it the way Alec plays, though. He fits well into our offense, and he's a pretty big asset on our offense. So I have no issues with him. Receivers pretty much did all the work in the passing game. Will Mallory had 2 consecutive catches for 29 yards. Those would be his only 2 of the day. And Mo Alley Cox. Time for the 2 Shane Steichen play calls that he made, both involving the passing game. Start off with a 4th and 1 or 4th and inches, whatever, in their own territory. They pretty much bundled everyone up in the tackle box. You had Zach Moss in the backfield. Looked like he was going to run into him for a first down. Instead, he fakes the handoff, has Zach Moss blocking all the rushers, and finds a wide open Michael Pittman on a little out route without a pick play to get like a 30-yard gain. And then 4th and 1. This might be the call of the year. 4th and 1, up 20-17, needing to try to put this game away. About 9 minutes left in Tampa Bay territory. He put Zaire Franklin in the backfield, Jonathan Taylor in, and we all think that it's going to maybe go to Franklin or go to Taylor, maybe Franklin in to be a bigger blocker. Instead, they throw it on like 4th and an inch. Taylor sold it, Minshew sold it, and Mo Alley Cox just goes downfield. Tampa Bay did not have a safety back, and the Colts completely exploited that, and Mo Alley was wide open for a 30-yard gain. Now, this apparently was the idea of Tom Manning to put Zaire in and do this play to Mo Alley Cox. So you got to give a lot of credit to him, and also for Shane Steichen for recognizing that Tampa didn't have a safety back and making this play happen. Just phenomenal job by them. And, man, this guy Steichen, he's one hell of a play caller. And, again, Tampa Bay has one of the best front sevens in the league, and we protect them very well. So you got to give a lot of credit to our O-line. So our offense played really well. Passing was efficient, and the run was efficient. Just really proud of the way we were. Tampa Bay got a touchdown, make it 20-17, but then we went right back down, scored a touchdown to make it a 10-point game. And then Tampa Bay got a field goal, but then the defense stepped up. And let's get into the defense right now. The defense played phenomenal Sunday. Forced 2 turnovers. They won the turnover battle, which is one of the reasons why they won this game. Ronnie Harrison, in his first game as a Colt, gets an interception on Baker Mayfield, his former teammate in Cleveland. And then Samson Ebukam, who's been maybe the most underrated defender on the Colts this season, gets a strip sack in the waning seconds, and Dio Dangbo recovers it, and the Colts get the win. And then Jonathan Taylor runs for the first down to run out the clock. So the defense played really well. Secondary has played better. Now, Mike Evans had a couple of wide open catches, but they forced lots of pressure on Baker. And I was just really proud of the way that they came out and played today. The Colts defense had 6 sacks on Sunday. They have been one of the best pass rushing teams in the NFL, and they are tied for the league lead with 7 strip sacks on the season. So pretty cool of that, and really proud of the way the defense has played. I'm still not that big of a fan of Gus Bradley, but the players themselves are making me feel very proud and feel very confident for the Colts. All right, time for the news of the week so far for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor, after that great game he had over Tampa Bay and looks like finally starting to come back, well, unfortunately, he suffered a thumb injury. I believe a torn ligament in his thumb during the game, which Colts didn't even find out till after. But Jim Irsay says that he's going to have surgery in L.A. Today, I believe, and he is going to be out for the next 2 to 3 weeks. However, the Colts have Shane Steichen say that the Colts have no interest right now in putting Jonathan Taylor on injured reserve, so he should only be out for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So it does stink a little bit, especially during this playoff stretch, but Zach Moss is still top 10 in the NFL in rushing yards, and he's still performing, even with Taylor taking the majority of the reps now. I mean, he had a great game over Tampa Bay, and I have full confidence that he's going to hold down the fort for the next few weeks. So the Taylor news sucks, but at least it's not season ending, and at least Zach Moss can hold down the fort, and we're not stuck with Deion Jackson or somebody. So that's pretty good stuff there. All right, time to preview the game next week. The Colts travel on the road to take on their arch rivals, the Tennessee Titans, who they finally snapped a 5-game losing streak over on week 5 with a 23-16 win. This game, though, is in Tennessee. The Titans have not lost at Nissan Stadium this year. They are 4-0 at Nissan. They are 0-7 everywhere else. And, of course, this game is at Nissan Stadium, so you would expect that the Titans win. It's definitely possible, but it should be a good game. A lot of people are calling this the Will Levis revenge game because we took Anthony Richardson over him, but there were like 26 or 27 other teams that also passed up on him. You could even say the Panthers or the Texans for passing on him. So really, I don't know why the Colts get all of the bashing for this, but Will Levis has played very well, though. I will give him a ton of credit for what he has done. But I mean, he doesn't really have much of a line. The Titans defense is underrated, but I like the way we match up with them, though. I wish we had Grover Stewart in this one because Derrick Henry is still a threat. Had a pretty good game against the Panthers. But I think Gardner Minshew will be able to pick apart this pretty bad Tennessee secondary. I think Zach Moss will be able to find the open holes. He gashed Tennessee's defense in Week 5. So why not again here in Week 13 in Tennessee? I hope that a lot of Colts fans are going to go down and show their support for their team, who's currently in the playoff position and second place in the division. And it should be a really good game. I'm excited for it. Ultimately, though, I have my Indianapolis Colts coming out on top 23-15 in a close game. All right, so that's pretty much going to do it here on the 12th Horseshoe Show, on Search Sports. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Again, really sorry that I didn't have a show last week, just got tied up with some stuff, but we are back on the grind, and we're going to continue throughout the rest of the season as the Colts make their playoff push. 6-5, let's make it 7-5 this weekend. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Make sure you join Eli and I on Tuesdays and Fridays for our 12th Horseshoe podcast. This Friday in 2 days for our Week 13 picks. Eli already thinks the Seahawks are going to beat the Cowboys on Thursday night. I have the Cowboys. It's in Dallas. The Cowboys have not lost at home, just like the Tennessee Titans. Eli with Sports Mono on Saturday mornings. Basketball season for St. Mary's coming up in case you guys are interested. The first game is in about 2 weeks, so we cannot wait for that. I will be your play-by-play guy for that. Eli will be doing public address announcing, so it should be a good time. But thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Jack Rizzo signing off. By the way, hope you guys all had a very happy Thanksgiving. And get ready. Christmas season is underway, so get in the spirit. Take care, everyone, and God bless.